A garden waits in quiet light, green and new, every leaf holding a bead of morning like a secret. Water moves through hidden channels under soft soil. Birds test their voices in the cool air, and the sky is so clean it feels like a held breath. In this stillness, the story opens, not with noise, but with a touch. Hands shape earth into a life that takes its first breath, and the breath is warm and near, like someone leaning close to whisper your name. He is the first man, alive with wonder that has no memory behind it. He blinks, and the world answers. Light warms his face. The ground is firm under his feet. The scent of damp soil and sweet sap hangs around him. He hears water falling somewhere beyond the trees, not loud, just steady, as if the heart of the garden is speaking in a gentle rhythm. He is not afraid. He is not alone. The one who formed him is here. The Lord walks with the ease of a friend in his own home. His voice carries like music without instruments, every word round and kind. Adam, he says, and the name is a gift. He shows him the place he has prepared, a garden planted not by chance, but by care. Trees rise in quiet pillars, heavy with fruit that glows beneath the leaves. Vines climb, flowers lean toward the sun, and every path curves as if it knows where joy lives. Streams braid silver through the green, and where they meet, the ground shines with pebbles smooth as glass. This is yours to tend, God says. Keep it, guard it. The garden is not a museum. It is a living song, and Adam is its keeper. He walks beneath the branches and touches bark that is warm from the light. He runs his fingers through the cool water and laughs when fish flick past like sparks. He kneels to smell a flower, and the petals brush his face. Work begins before sweat and strain exist, and it feels like play that matters. Every movement adds order. Every choice answers love. Time in the garden has a soft pulse. Light grows, shadows turn, and the evening draws near with a golden hush. The Lord walks in the cool of the day, and Adam moves toward him the way a child runs to the sound of home. Conversation is easy. There are questions, and none of them taste like fear. What is this tree called? The fig, God answers. What about the one that leans toward the stream? The almond. And that small one with the tiny fruit? The pomegranate. Adam repeats the names, and the world settles under language, like soil pressed down after seed. The animals arrive as if the land itself is eager to show off. Hooves shuffle, wings tilt, claws gently test the ground. There is no hunger to harm here, only the hum of life finding its place. Adam watches a deer step out from a knot of trees, delicate as a thought, and smiles. He laughs when a monkey tilts its head and tries to mirror his face. He kneels when a lion pads forward, not with threat, but with a slow and curious grace. As each creature draws near, Adam names it as he is led, and the names fit like well-made sandals. His voice joins the music of a world that is finally hearing itself pronounced good. Yet in the rise and fall of wonder, a quiet ache appears. It is not pain, more like a chord missing from a song. The garden answers every sense. The Lord walks close enough to hear a whisper. Yet Adam finds a place inside him that no bird or lion or sky can fill. He does not know what to call it, because it is the shape of a presence he has not met. The Lord sees it before the thought fully forms. It is not good for the man to be alone, God says, and the words are like shade that gives rest. Adam feels sleep come over him like a tide. It is not the restless kind he will one day know. It is deep and calm, as if he is being held while something important is being woven in the dark. In that quiet work, the Lord takes from Adam's side, not to subtract, but to craft. He builds her with the same care that shaped the stars. He writes a harmony the melody did not know it needed, and when Adam wakes, the world is different. She stands in soft light, with eyes bright as the river and hair that holds the warmth of the sun. She is not a mirror, not a copy. but a counterpart, a whole person who carries the same breath God once breathed into dust. Adam's chest pulls tight with a joy he did not have words for until this moment. Bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. He does not say it to claim her like a thing. He says it like awe, like the way you speak when you find a note that changes the entire song. Eve steps forward, and the ground does not just hold her. It seems to welcome her. She listens to the garden and smiles. The birds answer her smile as if they recognize their friend. The Lord watches with delight that does not need to be spoken. Adam reaches for Eve's hand, and when their fingers meet, the ache that had sat in his chest dissolves like mist. They walk together, learning the garden as one. They learn which fruit snaps with a sweet crunch, which is soft and rich, which tastes like summer rain. They learn the weight of water in the morning, heavy on the leaves, and the lift of wind in the afternoon, smooth and playful. They work side by side, and the work feels like a dance. Eve finds a young sapling that has bent too far in the breeze and gently ties it to a stake. Adam gathers stones to shape a bed for herbs, and his hands grow skilled at the art of care. They laugh easily. They talk in the simple language of discovery. Every day reveals another good thing that was always waiting. At the heart of the garden, two trees stand with a kind of still majesty. The tree of life lifts its branches in a pattern that feels like a blessing you can see. The other tree holds a weight that feels different, the knowledge of good and evil. And in a world that knows only wholeness, that weight is strange. God is clear, not harsh. Eat freely from every tree, he says, but not from this one. The command is not a trap. It is a line drawn by love to protect a world still young. Eve listens and nods. Adam feels the boundary and is grateful, the way someone near a cliff is grateful for a strong fence. Evening brings the richest peace. The light goes soft and the air cools, and the Lord walks among the trees. Adam asks what it was like before light, and God answers with a warmth that moves through the leaves. Before light, there was love. Eve asks how the rivers know their paths, and God smiles. I told them a story, and they followed the sound. Questions rise like small birds startled into flight, and the answers settle like feathers. There is no rush. There is a sense that every moment has space enough to hold joy. Harmony is not the absence of choice. It is the fullness of choice made in trust. They do not feel pressure to prove themselves. They do not try to earn what is already given. Work is worship because it is shared. Rest is worship because it is received. When they sleep, they lie without guard or shame. When they wake, the world greets them like a friend who kept watch. Eve soon notices details that Adam missed. She sees a pattern in the way certain vines cling to the rocks near the water, and she learns to train them so the fruit hangs easy to reach. She hears a shift in the voice of the stream the day before rain comes, a softer note that tells her the clouds are on the move. Adam learns to read weather in the way birds choose their perches. He learns that the soil near the almond tree drinks differently than the soil near the fig. Their knowledge grows with their love, and none of it is pride. It is stewardship that looks like gratitude. They talk about the future with a kind of innocent excitement. What will we learn next? Will there be more songs in the birds than we have heard? The Lord answers in a way that helps them keep wonder. There is always more to know. There is always more to love. You are safe in the story I am telling, and I am with you in every line. One morning, after a night of strong rain, they step out to a world washed clean. The leaves are dark and glossy, heavy with drops that release and patter on the ground. The edges of the world feel sharp, defined by light. They follow a new path made by a small overflow of the stream, and it leads them to a hidden bend where the water moves slow and clear. Fish drift like silver brushstrokes, and the riverbed shines with stones, the colors of honey and smoke. They sit on the bank with their feet in the water and eat fruit that tastes brighter after rain. and the sweetness lingers as they talk. Eve wonders aloud what it means to be like God, since they were made in his image. Adam looks at his hands, at the lines that are both strong and gentle, and says maybe it means to create, to care, to speak truth, to choose love. The Lord's voice comes near, not a lecture, but a presence. You bear my image because you are known and loved. You reflect me when you hold what I have made with care. You show me when you forgive, when you tell the truth, when you protect the weak. Being like me is not a ladder to climb. It is a life to share. They listen and something settles deeper in them, a peace that holds like a root. The animals approach without fear. A fox rests in the shade close by, tail wrapped over its nose. Two birds hop near their toes and tilt their heads as if the conversation matters to them too. It does. In harmony, nothing created is shut out. Days gather like pearls on a string. Adam and Eve plant a small grove near the eastern edge, where the morning light is tender and the soil is rich. They imagine shade for future days and fruit for future hands. They make a place to sit and watch the sunrise, and they learn that waiting is a kind of love. When the first blossoms appear, Eve touches them lightly and closes her eyes. Life is not a rush, she says. It is a gift that opens at the right time. There are moments where they feel a desire to step beyond the boundary around the one tree, not because the fruit looks particularly beautiful, but because curiosity stretches its fingers toward everything. In those moments, they return to the voice of God and to the memory of his care. They remember that every good thing is already generously given. They practice trust the way a musician practices a scale, again and again, until it becomes natural and strong. And trust is something inside them. It makes space for joy. One evening, when the sky is lavender and the first stars appear like seeds of light, Adam turns to Eve and says that sometimes he hears the garden sing, not with words, but with a sound that gathers when the wind moves through the leaves. Eve nods. I hear it too. It is a song that makes you feel like you belong. The Lord's steps approach, and they know the rhythm of those steps by now. He sits with them in the cool air and says that the song is the goodness of everything in order. It is the sound of peace that nothing is wounded. It is the echo of my heart. They ask if the song will last forever, and for a breath, the silence grows deep. God speaks gently, and his eyes hold knowledge that is both tender and vast. You are free, and freedom is real. There are paths that lead away from peace, and I will not force your feet, but I am with you. Even if you lose your way, I will come for you. My love is not a thread that snaps when pulled. It is a covenant that endures. They nod, understanding only as much as innocence can hold, and it is enough for now. They rest their heads on each other's shoulders and watch the constellations rise. The night is not fearful. It is a blanket pulled up to the chin of the world, and beneath it, everything breathes. Morning returns with the soft call of doves from the eastern trees. Adam and Eve move through the garden with purpose. It feels like joy but to work. They harvest figs and gather herbs. They check the young vines and retie where needed. They sit to taste something new, a blend of crushed leaves that smells bright and clean, and they laugh at the faces they make. There is no bitterness in the laughter. It is simple and free. They do not yet know the weight of shame. They do not yet know the cold ache of hiding. They do not yet hear the voice of accusation slither like smoke at the edge of words. What they know is the voice that walked with them in the evening, the hands that formed them in care, the command that was not a cage, but a shelter. They know each other without fear, and they are not lost in that knowing. They belong to God, and that belonging does not erase the self. It makes it clear. When the sun climbs high, heat gathers on the stones and the air shimmers above them. They rest in shade and share fruit that drips down their chins and wipe it away with the backs of their hands. They talk about future groves, future names for creatures yet to meet, future songs they might hum when they work. Hope feels easy here. It is not a stranger. It is the air. If you could walk that path with them, you would notice small miracles that do not shout. You would see a spider web catch light like a net made of rainbows. You would feel the ground cool and firm under your feet. You would understand why the world was called very good, not because it earned a grade, but because it reflected a face. As the day softens, Adam and Eve return to the two trees, not to test the boundary, but to remember the gift and the guard. They stand under the tree of life and breathe the sweetness of the shade. They stand near the other tree and let the boundary stand as a choice of love. It is not a rebuke, it is an anchor. Eve squeezes Adam's hand. He squeezes back. They walk away with light steps and clear minds. The Lord meets them along the path and tells them a story within the story, about a shepherd who knows each of his sheep by name and calls them, and they come because they know his voice. Eve tilts her head. "We know yours," she says. Adam nods. "And your voice is kind." God smiles. "Then keep listening." Night gathers again. Crickets begin small songs at the edges of the garden. The stars are brighter after a day of clear air, and the moon rises like a silver promise. Adam and Eve lie down to rest, and the peace that wraps around them is not thin. It is thick as honey. It has weight, but the kind that comforts. Sleep finds them quickly, because there is nothing to run from. Tomorrow will bring the same call. Tend, keep, walk with the one who loves you. Harmony is not a fragile glass that shatters under the smallest touch. It is a living thing, rooted and watered, guarded by trust and warmed by presence. It can be wounded, but it begins as something strong. If you listen closely to the first chapter of their life, you can hear your own name hidden inside it. You were made for this kind of belonging. You were formed for work that is love. You were created for a voice that is not harsh. In a world that often moves too fast and pulls at the edges of the heart, the first garden still speaks. It says that peace is possible when love sets the order. It says that you were never meant to carry life alone. Remember this as the story widens. The ground is still soft under bare feet. The river still knows its path. The voice still walks in the evening. The story of harmony has been written, but the story of testing has not yet begun.